Spawning in the top right position as our blue Zerg player, playing for Team Acer. One for the Roach push off 2 bases last game. Not quite as effective as it looked it could be, honestly, because it seemed like he was in a good position, but he just didn't do anywhere near damage. It is Bly. And spawning in the bottom left position as the now purple Terran player. Also from Team Acer, he forgot Stim. He didn't have Stim until about 15 minutes last game. Well, we'll have to see what he can make of this game. It is MMA. So, Whirlwind. What a big map. Now, most players, I would say, oh, well, this is a map that you really need to go bio on. But MMA is probably going to go bio anyway, so it doesn't matters. It doesn't matters at all. He's a very strong bio player. It's really his favorite style. It looks like we're going to see MMA go for a command center first again. He's got those SCVs queued up at his command center. He has 13 supply, so he's going to be sending this SCV down. It looks like he might be willing to build on the low ground. Pretty greedy, but on this map, cross positions Whirlwind, we could be in store for a very long game here, ladies and gentlemen. Hatchery on the way for Bly. So both players opening up with these pretty economic styles. Nothing unusual, but Bly already going for fast gas. So we could see, if this gas coming from before pool, he could actually start the pool right when this gas finishes, and we could see a really big speedling attack. Usually that's what this kind of timing is reserved for. So I'm curious what we're going to get out of him. Now the spawning pool is starting. Should see this gas immediately be mined. MMA will not be able to scout Bly in time really to spot this gas. He actually doesn't have a scout on the field at all. He's dancing around his SCV, almost poked to death by the drone. That drone just trying to give it the kiss of death. Just come here, SCV. Oh! Jukes him with the supply depot lift and the barracks construction. So this also lets Bly know that MMA is not going for the Hellion opener. And I actually feel like opening with this Marine style, typically I would say this is great because it allows you to put on pressure, but this is Whirlwind. Your options for putting on pressure against a Zerg player with bio this early in the game, basically impossible. He's especially cross positions. And now, with a very high likelihood of there being a huge speedling attack, and that's what Bly should do. Should just get speed, maybe just cut gas right now. Could get a banding nest if he's feeling frisky, but I feel like there's a really big speedling attack. Should be able to shut down the natural. But if he goes for a banding nest, it could just be trying to just bust down the front door. And I only say banding nest because he's continuing to mine this gas. Double Queen on the way. Going to make a couple scout Zerglings, but MMA's got some Marines coming out now. He's going to take his gas before getting a third barracks, so he's being a little bit mindful of the tech situation. It's going to be interesting, I have to say. We have 50 gas, over 50 gas actually available for Bly, so I'm wondering if he's just waiting before he wants to build a banding nest, if he's just going to go for a fast lair, or what he's going to do. Pause from Bly. Hopefully everything is okay on his end. I'm a little bit curious what he wants to do with this 100 gas. That's the big thing, because he didn't take drones off of mining it after he started his Zergling speed, so he could only be doing that if he wanted to go for banelings or fast roaches. But on this map, roaches simply don't make sense. I'd rather get the roaches out faster by skipping Zergling speed, because the roaches take 5 years to cross the map. MMA will have battle cruisers by the time a couple slow roaches make it across Whirlwind. But we're gonna have to see. Hopefully everything is okay. Thankfully, I still have grapes here to keep me at peace, keep my jimmies from rustling. All right, Bly's ready to go. So like I said, he's still mining gas. I have no idea what he wants to do with this. He's got 150 now. He's actually really starting to bank it. Does he realize he doesn't have a baneling nest? There's really no way for him to spend this gas. MMA, though, bringing these barracks over. It's going to start a factory, and I like this. He kind of opened with the 2 racks to kind of wall off. This might actually be a little bit of mind games on his own part. He's gotten up his factory now. We're probably going to see a reactor just go. So he's going to go Hellions anyway off this 2 racks open. MMA doesn't scout too much. He might have noticed that Zergling speed just completed, but I'm not sure. These Marines can get caught off guard very quickly. And the baneling nest is starting now, so I guess what Bly really wanted to do was just drone up and then go for this push, but really having the Baneling Nest earlier, really no negative. In all honesty, he would have lost one drone and maybe, I guess, the minerals to make a couple more, but now his push is going to be delayed. He has the Zerglings coming out, but that Baneling Nest still 30 seconds away. I guess it builds fast enough that it's not that big of a deal. It was a little interesting, though, because I guess he was just not sure how many drones he wanted to have before he pushed, but right now he has basically 2 base saturation. He's missing about 3 drones on each base, so that's a good amount of economy. But that's what he's kind of, that's the sacrifice that we make to do this kind of push. So the Zerglings are outside of MMA's natural expansion now, making a bunch of Banelings. MMA's not aware of this. He has a regular wall up. The Marines are actually outside the bunker. They're shooting down the neutral supply depot. There's going to be only 4 supply depots actually here to help wall off. There's, of course, the neutral one, but that will not really be a target. And the Hellions are going to step out, and he's going to walk right into a face full of pain. Losing these Hellions is actually huge. They're the best units at dealing with Zerglings. And now, Bly's going to bust right on in, just crashes through that bunker. And here we have him pulling the SCVs. The Banelings get great hits on all of them, but he wants to use the Banelings to bust in the front door, and he will be able to do so. The Zerglings are running in now, getting these Marines. The Banelings trying to get the rest of the Marines. I wonder if he should be sending them straight to the mineral line, and that's what Bly's going to do. They're coming. The SCVs try to get us around. Boom, takes out, a good number of workers. Really nice bust there from Bly, and even more Zerglings are on the way. He's going to immediately get to work on these SCVs at the National, going to force a lift, and MMA needs to wall this off really, really quickly. I don't know if we're going to see any kind of Baneling bust. Wow, actually took a lot of damage there. I'm trying to push it through a ramp with Hellions at the top, but will MMA be able to save these supply depots? It seems so. He's going to clean up the rest of these Zerglings, but we have a lot more being made on the way for Bly, but Bly now switching into some drones, going to get a Roach Warren and another gas. Should see him probably go for a lair unless he thinks he can just win with a quick Roach follow-up. I'm not sure he needs to add on 2 gases, though, for a Roach push. In all honesty, I think just having 2 gas should be fine for 2 bases, especially considering his drone count. But we're going to have to see Zerglings trying to chase these Hellions down towards MMA's natural. He's going to try to make him force another liftoff, perhaps. He shouldn't try to charge up a ramp, though. And here he goes. He's just moving around. If he kills another Hellion, gets another one, actually. Really nice play here. And these Marines, the medevac is here to support them. They should be able to clean this up, but Bly has done a ton of damage, guys. I just want to take a quick look. Look at the workers killed. 22 for Bly. And MMA has this 3rd command center. So his ability to reproduce his SCVs is definitely, it's competent. He can pull himself back into this game. But it's going to take some really good decision-making, some really good macro. And it's going to take a good defense of this Roach push that's coming, because MMA, he needs to get another bunker right now. These Roaches that are going to come across the field. I mean, Stim is done. We have a medevac on the field. There's a couple more Marines out. I don't know. Actually, 10 Roaches again at this late in the game. I feel like without speed or burrow, these aren't that scary. And the lair is actually ridiculously late. As much damage as he did, MMA does have a tech lead. And this tech lead for MMA basically means that he can go for siege tanks, which would shut down pretty much all of the aggression. Siege tanks basically block all hatch tech aggression that can come out of a Zerg player. So this gives him pretty good options. Going to poke off this Overlord, so no more scouting of MMA moving out of his base. And now he sees the big Roach Ling force coming. We could see a much more Banelings being made for Bly. I'm not too sure how effective this might be. It's all going to depend on the attack and the split, really, from MMA. He has Stim. Combat Shield will be done in about 20 seconds, but with these 2 bunkers coming up, if he splits properly between them and has the Hellions able to grab a few of these units on the other side, they could work, but this is actually a really scary push coming in from Bly. No tanks for MMA. 3rd base is going to be forced to lift off. The factory only now getting a tech lab at the 12-minute mark. So we should have our first tank and siege mode start very soon, but now the Banelings are... No, what a tease. It looked like he was about to move the Banelings in. Hellions are going to try to run out, and basically what he wants to do is cut off reinforcements or force the engagement. He manages to snipe one of the Banelings with these Hellions, so great shot by MMA. Needs to repair that bunker with those SCVs. There we go. So this is still a very scary position to be in. His first tank's on the way, though. He needs to start siege mode immediately. Siege mode saves him. He's actually caused Bly to move back, so really great decision-making. Bly, during this time, did get his lair up, and I believe he also got... He's getting Overlord speed, Baneling speed, and Roach speed. So this is your standard core for a Roach Baneling composition, it seems. But without tanks, it's actually going to be pretty effective if MMA tries to move out on the field anytime soon. Now, no lair tech just yet. We don't have an Infestation Pit, no Spire, Hydralisk, den, lurker pit, or anything like that. MMA pushing back towards his third base. These roaches are, of course, still a very real threat. Roaches can be tenacious little buggers if they get up in your mineral line, or especially fighting Marines head-to-head. They can actually take pretty cost-effective engagements if there are no tanks nearby, just because of the amount of burst damage that roaches do. But MMA is going to scan. He sees that natural expansion. He's going to see, okay, evolution chamber, nothing else, though. And we do have an infestation pit starting in the main base, as well as a macro hatchery for Bly. So macro hatch is going to help him get a little more larvae, be able to spend his money a little bit more effectively, and really help in the late game for remaxes as well. Infestation pit, with the tech choice that we've seen out of Bly, I feel like he could just try to go for Roach Infester. He's continuing to build roaches, which is slightly puzzling, but he's going to get melee upgrades, so he might actually just go into Ultralisks. I'm not 100% sure, though. This is interesting because he's also making a lot more Zerglings now, so he's possibly preparing for another bit of aggression. He has all of these units that just really aren't doing much of anything, and I feel like with Burrow, you could try to harass a tiny bit more. But now tanks are on the field. We have siege mode. I love the forward bunker positioning, MMA. Very smart about this. This is something you don't actually see, or at least I haven't seen too much lately come out of our players recently, but we see him do this in GSTL when he was behind. Even in this game, you know, he started off behind. He's ahead in supply now, guys. MMA has managed to pull himself up from this awkward position. Sees, okay, man, you have a lot of roaches and banelings, but roach baneling composition is really only effective versus raw bio or low tank counts. So MMA just needs to pick his battles carefully. Medevac drops are going to be heading out. And I feel like as long as he has his tanks sieged properly whenever he decides to make a push, Roach Baneling really shouldn't do anything to this army composition. He's getting the Hive now, and this is where he's going to try to get the units that will make the Banelings a little bit more effective on these roaches left in the main base. And that's going to be Ultralisks, I feel. That's the best unit for dealing with this, or at least for making roaches and Banelings effective again. Broodlords, well, your opponent has to try to run under them to get them, and Broodlords are expensive, but Ultralisks, they open some good options. But 6 Infestors actually coming out for Bly, so he really wants to have a lot to shut this bio down. And the thing is, this isn't really MMA's whole army. He's just running around, looking for bases, trying to snipe off any expansions that are going up, and basically just being a nuisance. So, MMA with that strong macro, man, he's really pulled himself ahead. And this is the might of Korean macro. He's playing a really solid game so far. And here we have a triple drop headed over to the right side and a single drop in the third base. So this is looking like it's going to cause a good amount of damage. Zergling's heading over to the top base, but it looks like the fourth for Bly going to be sniped off here. Really nice play by MMA. The Infestors have showed up, though, so you can't really go back at this point. The Banelings are going to run in, but the Marauder actually tanks an enormous amount of the damage. These Medevacs, MMA really wants to get these out of here, though. There's only one fungal left, and looks like these two will die, but he does save one of them. And now the drop moving over. It was cleaned up, but MMA putting on a good amount of pressure, and we have a Spire starting. So it looks like Bly, you know, I feel like he should have tried to get a Spire up, maybe cut one of his Infestors before this, but he does have the Ultralisk Cavern, so he wants to go for this first. Chitinous Plating is on the way, +2 Zerg attack, and no +2 armor just yet, but 2-2 is about to finish for MMA, so an upgrade advantage in Bio versus Ultralisk. So let's just do a little bit of math here, right? So Marines with +3 attack, right now they're +2 right now. They do 8 damage. At +3 attack, if MMA gets that upgrade, they do 9 damage. Ultralisks only have 1 armor by default. Actually, I'm not even sure they have much of any armor, but what really makes Ultralisks scary are 3/3 and Chitinous Plating. But look at them right now with only +1 armor. They have 2 armor, so versus 6. At full upgrades, they have 6, so that's an additional 4 damage per hit that they can take from these Marines right now because they have this 2/2. This upgrade advantage is very significant when it comes to fighting Ultralisks. Marines become less cost effective versus them the longer the game goes on, the more upgrades are in play. But MMA going for this push right now, he is at a huge advantage because of this upgrade lead. And ooh, a really great Burrow Baneling bomb, managing to pick off a couple of those Marines. But with this tank count, it's going to be super difficult for Bly to kill this army, but I have to say, with the way this choke point's positioned in these Banelings, it'd be really, really difficult for MMA to actually push up here. He's going to need to move his tanks forward. A drop hits the natural expansion, though. He's pulling these units back. MMA scouts the Greater Spire at the same time, so he knows what's going on now, and he's actually going to use his opportunity in moving the opponent's army. I love this. Everything he does has a reason. Even if the drop didn't kill anything, he managed to pull Bly's army back, and now these tanks are in such a safe position. There's nothing Bly can do to really kill these. He's just going to try to run around, and this is I'm not 100% sure. He's going to basically go for a base trade, it seems. And MMA kind of realizes, says, okay, well, I got to pull everything back. He really needs to pull his units in home. This tank would be much, much better served to be home, but these overlords trying to move over. They can't stop the drop from happening. The MMA's force is so great. This is so scary. The Zergly's moving into the natural expansion now. There is a tank inside of it, but it's not going to be able to kill all of this. It could be a hero tank. If he picks off the Banelings, it'll help his army fight the Zerg forces later on in the game. But the problem here is MMA's everywhere right now. In Bly, his buildings don't lift, so it's all going to come down to whether or not Bly has enough left over after killing off MMA's main base to actually fight MMA's army. And what really matters here is the Baneling count, because MMA has a pretty solid Marine count. But he has so many siege tanks, actually. This is so scary, but Broodlords are on the way for Bly. All Bly has to do now is just turtle inside of his main on one base. If MMA can't push up because of the infestors, Bly might actually be able to win this game. Bly actually has a really nice supply lead. You know, I feel like the upgrade advantage was in the favor of MMA. But this is actually super, super scary now. Because Bly was able to get Broodlords out, the medevac count is decent, but the Marine count is not. And there's so many tanks here, they're going to splash their own Marines to death. I'm not actually sure that that MMA can take this. And it looks like MMA having a bit of a... Let's see. Game is paused, so... yeah, this is exactly where it ended. This is exactly where he dropped, so... we're asking, are you ready? Are you ready? Do you know? Oh, look at that countdown. Here we go, guys. We're back into this game, and like I said, this is a very scary situation for MMA to be in. He has lost the majority of his production. He has a couple of barracks he could lift, but this is so scary right now. I don't quite know what's going to happen. Let me turn that music back on, get your production tab. I have to re-enable all this stuff. But MMA has a pretty solid force. He has 2 command centers. He needs to kill basically these Ultralisks and then move back. And it's just so scary because killing these Broodlords would be so difficult. MMA has a base going in the top center. Medevac's going to pass by it, but there's no units in it to actually drop there. And the Corruptors actually could just go after these command center. There are no Vikings, so the Corruptors don't need to do anything but tag the command center, in all honesty. He could, maybe. No, he actually doesn't have the Greater Spire anymore, so this is a very scary position for MMA. I feel like his army can be more cost-effective, but let's look at the Marine count with his force. We only have about, I'd say 23, so this is going to be really difficult, but here we go. He's going to move in, kill the Roaches. I feel like if these Roaches can reunite, and the Ultralisks can reunite with the main army, he could, Bly could just overthrow this whole force, but this is ridiculous. The Ultralisks only have half health. There are enough Marauders in here to basically just pulverize it. You only need, 3 Marauders, that's fine, versus the Ultralisks. This is really just going to come down to whether or not you can survive. I love this. The creep. It's pooping creep for a spine crawler to prevent the command center from landing. That's actually kind of hilarious. MMA does have a few racks, though. Most importantly, he has his starport, but he needs to build a couple of supply depots first. And, oh no, there's some burrowed Zerglings here. If he just tries to rebuild everything here, these Zerglings could shut this down. How many SCVs does MMA have is the real question. Okay, he actually has quite a few, so he can rebuild as long as he needs to. One of his orbital commands in a little bit of jeopardy, but he scans, says, hey, I see you, man. And that also alerts, by the way. So now Bly knows that there is a landed orbital command somewhere because this one is obviously flying. And as he sends these units around to check a bit more, this is so scary. He can't get any Vikings out until he builds supply depots. He's still supply blocked. He's going to need one more, but he needs money before he can actually do that. So these Zerglings are going to head to the bottom. He's going to see this command center, and I love this. Oh, you don't actually see the command center, but he's just going to burrow there. And MMA might actually be in a better position if he just turtles Bly, even in Bly's awkward position. Well, I guess he can spend the rest of his gas. We have 2 more infestors out. I actually don't know. This is so scary. He's going to try to get another Spire, and basically off of 1 base economy. Oh, no. I guess his natural hatchery is done as well. Yeah, I think Bly's in a great economic position. MMA needs to push now or something. If any more Broodlords get onto the field, he's got like solid 2-3 minutes before Broodlords can actually be made again. But if he allows that to happen, it's going to be really, really scary for him because MMA is still making another supply depot before we can actually get more units out. We should see some Vikings start. Obviously, actually supply dropped both of them. But here he goes. He's just going to try to shut down this base. The drones are going to move away. Neither player really wants to fight the other. It's really scary. I feel like Infestors with full energy, though, should be able to just take a fight really, really well just because if you can grab the medevacs in the same hand. There are 6 medevacs though, so keep in mind there's a decent amount of healing available, but a lot of the medevacs are weak, and in Wings of Liberty there is that fungal growth bonus, so 2 fungals will actually kill them half these medevacs. And I love this, you know, these Zerglings are running around killing more supply depots. Now they're going to run back into that main base, and hey, he's going to be supply blocked into eternity, and this is why I said, you know, you really should have tried to do something a bit earlier. He's going to lose his supply depots, and now I don't know. I guess he has these SCVs mining here, but this is so scary. Bly is just everywhere with his Lings, and I love this command center just chilling here. It's just like, sup. Bly, losing this base of mining was significant, though, because now this main, there's barely any gas here. There's going to be enough for another Broodlord, too, but the Greater Spire is coming up again. I think if Bly gets, like, 2 or 3 more Broodlords, this game's going to become unwinnable for MMA. This is ridiculous. Supply depots continue to be built like he just doesn't have anything, and now this one's going to die. He's actually using a mule to repair this supply depot. It's actually kind of hilarious. It's barely, the DPS is barely even, and that's with the adrenal glands upgrade too. Keep in mind, man, repair is imba. He's actually healing it. This one hero marine is going to try to shut this down, but he's only got 10 hit points, so I don't know how well that's going to work. Oh, the Zergling's focusing it down, so he will be able to kill that Ling. So nice catch for MMA, but it looks like he's getting ready to move out across the field. Now this is it, pretty much. And honestly, with another Ultralisk or 2 coming out, MMA, oh man. What an awkward position to be in. I feel like maybe he should just try to turtle up and build up a nice force. Casting this game just became a lot more difficult. Zergling's running to the left side. He's just going to do a run by to this base, and there's nothing here to defend it. If the Zerglings get in, this is going to be huge. MMA trying to send an SCV to wall this off, but it will not be in time. The Zerglings are in action. What? Actually, just slip through there anyway, and the SCVs are all going to die before they can get away. All he needs to do is just kill these SCVs, really. He's killing a good number of them. Actually, he manages to save some. He stimmed some Marines over to run back, but these Zerglings just burrowed. MMA needs to scan and kill these, or, I mean, if he just walks away right now, and these Zerglings get that mineral line, okay, there he goes. Finally make sure he gets it. And these Zerglings are following this command center and his bases in him, and I don't want you to take any more bases. I love the drones burrowing around. But Bly, there's not too many minerals left here. The Greater Spire is done, but we have 6 Broodlords, 7, excuse me, on the field right now. And this game has gotten ridiculous. MMA has a nice force in the center, but the problem is his Marines can't actually get close enough to kill these Broodlords. They seem to be extending a little bit, but Infestor Ultralisk, the Marines are no match for that right now. As I said, MMA had that upgrade advantage, but he never got his 3-3, so this actually reminds me of game, the other, I can't remember which exact game it was. We didn't even start his 3-3 on the game on Icarus, actually. He didn't get his 3-3, so he's also forcing MMA's very small economy to be burned on scans, and Bly has Zerglings and drones burrowed at pretty much all of these bases, so it's important to keep that in mind. As we look here with MMA trying to secure additional income. And now the Broodlords are going to come and force this fight. MMA needs basically a godlike split and the best siege tank focus fire known to man in order to win this. Because now here come the Fungals. One lands purely on the tanks. He's going to try to step up here. He needs to focus fire down. Not Broodlings with the tanks. This is so scary. Now the Marines, he's going to go for it. He's stepping up. The Marines stimming. No, he's going to pull back. The longer he waits, the worse it gets. The tanks are killing his own Marines, and now the Infestors still have so much energy. I think MMA may have just taken too much damage there. He's in a very scary spot. Now starting to produce another medevac, and I guess he wants to have maximum amount of healing to actually keep his units alive, but forfeiting that fight means he loses his only mining base, the majority of his SCVs, and I think MMA, well, there's no more mining really for either player. It's just gas being taken in by Bly, but he can make Infestors with that, and Infestors are pretty damn good, so I honestly think with 8 full energy Infestors, there's absolutely no way MMA can win this game, but he's going to go for a really big, he might actually try to just kill him. There is an extractor over here, though, and does he have any drones? He does have a drone out in the field. He could build an extractor here as well if he wanted to. What a scary position to be in. He's just going to try to abuse the slowness of the Broodlords and just run around. He's going to the main base. He's going to actually try to kill his opponent before he kills him, so to speak. And he's going to choose not to fight the big army. He's going to keep these tanks here. And the thing is, everything else would run up here before the Broodlords. So the Broodlords actually really lagging behind. the Infestors or Ultralisks would actually take a lot of tank fire, so it's okay to leave them CGs. So watch out, he has some tanks here behind, and really can't afford to lose anything to properly win this base trade. And now the army is showing up. MMA is going to need to lift off and get out of here, but, well, the Broodlords are still really far away. He can actually take a fight right now. He can take a fight until the Broodlords come up. So what MMA needs to do is just kill the tech and just put himself into a position where he can fight. But here he goes. There are only 2 tanks here. He doesn't focus down the Infestors. And oh no, all he needs is 1 fungal. And he's going to catch everything here. This is it. GG for Acer.MMA. Man, he almost seemed... I feel like if he had pulled out a little bit sooner, he might have been able to go for another round. But losing those 2 tanks on the low ground... Oh my goodness, what a crazy game, guys. Well, that's going to even up our score 2-2. So we're going to have a final ace match between MMA and Bly. Don't go anywhere, guys. We have a ton more matches coming up. This is the Ritmix RSL, Russian Star League, as it were, playoffs. So we have some more great players. If you guys looked at the stream title, we have Koss and Slivko, I believe, are playing next. And then Naniwa and Lowly. So this is going to be really awesome to see what else comes up here. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the cast. I'm enjoying these games. That was a pretty solid game. I can't wait to see the final game of this series. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.